p.m. Sharon, will you lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll go through the housekeeping items. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly. For the YouTube streaming, and I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to their microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. I would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We're here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. As we have done in the past, and I really ask this, comments in the first citizen comment section are to be used for comments related to the agenda items. I will make notes with regards to your comments, and the board can try and address them when we have board discussion. The second comment section can be used for any other areas of the township, but is not to be used for further comment on the agenda items. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comment section. Sometimes this is difficult, but it is not a debating stage between our citizens and the board members. We have township business to conduct, and it is required that we do so effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Just to be clear, motions are drafted to help the board more quickly to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. Board, we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. Are there any changes to the June 16th, 2026 regular board meeting?
I have none.
Anybody else?
I have none.
If not, then I will make the motion to approve the June 16, 2026 regular board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I can second it.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of June 16, 2026. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, our second meeting, are there any changes to the minutes to the special board meeting of June 29th, 2026?
I have none.
Hearing none, I will make the motion to approve the June 29th, 2026 special board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I can second it.
Thank you, Jason. It is moved
Jason.
and seconded to approve the special board meeting of June 29th, 2026. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Up next, correspondence and announcements. Mary, I believe we have 1 correspondence. I would like you to read.
We do have 1 correspondence from Lon Goforth and Cheryl Herrick of 4595 Northeast Torch Lake Drive, Central Lake. And it reads, please accept this letter as notice of property damage caused by Antrim County Road Commission and its improper, reckless, and poorly designed installation of the culvert under the road leading from the Torch Lake Township Lakeview Cemetery located on Northeast Torch Lake Drive and draining onto our property. The installation of this culvert was not done properly, nor with concern or care to the private property. The ineffective and improperly designed culvert dumps its extensive and damaging volume of water into our property. The design of this drainage intentionally and maliciously has increased by volumes almost not imaginable water flow onto our property, causing erosion, tree damage, and constant flow water most any time there is a rainfall. This disregard for our private property has caused extensive flooding and significant visible erosion of our property time and time again. Torch Lake Township and the Road Commission have been advised of this in the past and to date with no action being taken. The recent heavy rainstorm exacerbated the flooding and damage, but to be clear, this has been going on for a long time. We strongly suggest that you contact the attorneys for your respective organizations as they will verify that Michigan compiled law MCL specifically holds a county liable for improperly designed or maintained water diversion initiatives that causes damage to private property. A professional excavating company visited our property and has confirmed the drainage culvert under Northeast Torch Lake Drive and onto our property was poorly constructed, no attention paid to possible damage of our property, and was, quote, at best a quick and lousy fix, end quote, by the County Road Commission. As of the date of this letter, we have had to spend tens of thousands of dollars with a flood mitigation company to address flooding in our crawl space of our home due to the water continuing to be drained from the cemetery along the roadside ditch into the culvert under the road and pouring into our property. We now have had to contact a tree removal company to remove the trees that have fallen or in danger of falling due to erosion. This is unacceptable, and we believe the installation without proper care and purposeful engineering to artificially divert the water onto our property is a direct violation of Michigan compiled law. Our neighbors have made comment time and time again about the excessive amount of water pouring from the culvert directly onto our property. One neighbor called it, quote, lower Tequamanon Falls, end quote. If you cannot or will not correctly install or take mitigating steps to stop the artificial diverting of the water onto our property, please provide us with the names of the lawyers and/or law firm that will defend the township and county by July 30th of 2026. We do not want or like being aggressive, but our property and our home is important to us for obvious reasons, and the unnecessary need to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars is unacceptable. Sincerely, Lon Goforth and Cheryl Herrick.
All right, thank you. We have provided them with our attorney information. Our attorney has a copy of the letter, and I will have comments on this at the end of the meeting and information only section of the agenda. Thank you, Mary. Nothing else?
Nothing else.
All right. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
I have none.
All right. I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We now move to citizen comments. Please respect the 4-minute limit, and your comments in this section need to address agenda items. The second citizen comment section is open to any other township matter. Also, board, as a reminder, this is not a citizen debate. Board members can respond during the final board comment section. Mary, do we have any comments?
Nope.
None. All right. We now move to the consent agenda. Anyone wish to pull any of the reports? I have none.
I have none.
None?
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
To prove that I actually do go through my package at home, I got down here and I'm like, wait, I think I've already read this. So I don't.
It's 526.
Okay, so everybody else.
I didn't catch yours.
Okay.
We caught that this morning, so I think everybody else's is updated, but
Okay,
I'll get you a copy.
sounds good.
All right, so I will state all the reports are accepted by consent. I will make the motion to do that. Any objections? If not, then the next item is our special reports. Andy?
There was no planning commission meeting yesterday.
Yep.
The next planning commission meeting is scheduled for the regular meeting in August, which we will be doing prep for the special meeting that'll happen in September for the open house all around the master plan. So that's still as planned and on schedule.
We'll be doing the Park and Rec plan at the same time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mary, FOIA or any other announcements?
No, no FOIA.
That's good news. All right. Financial overview, nothing surprising. For the first 2 months of operations, the performance of the township against budget showed a positive cash flow of $245,000 as revenues came in higher by $47,000, expenses were lower by $198,000. In that $198,000 was an estimate that we were going to take delivery of our second tanker fire truck. We have not, and at this point, it's been delayed until probably late December or early 2027. As always, if you'd like a further discussion on the financial performance, please feel free to give me a call and we can set up an appointment. Moving to the next item, we have no old business. Under new business, we have a few things. You have a copy of the letter from Rita Service and Paul Bricker, but we'll take the first item. Jeff Weinkoop is currently alternate number 1, and we need to move him up due to the resignation of David Nussdorfer. That was effective after the last ZBA meeting. I will make the motion to appoint Jeff Weinkoop as regular member of the Zoning Board of Appeals effective July 22nd, 2026, with a term ending on October 31st, 2026. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I make the motion to appoint Jeff Weinkoop as regular board member of the Zoning Board of Appeals effective July 22nd, 2026, with a term ending on October 31, 2026. Mary, a roll call vote, please.
Mary, yes. Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
All right, thank you, board. All right, you have the letter from Paul Bricker. Paul has expressed an interest in serving on the ZBA, and so I would like to ask the board to approve his nomination. I will make the motion to appoint Paul Bricker as ZBA alternate number 1, effective July 22nd, 2026, with a term ending October 31st, 2028. Any discussion? Hearing none.
I'll second.
Mary? All right, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Paul Bricker as ZBA alternate number 1, effective July 22nd, 2026, with a term ending October 31st, 2028. Mary, we need a roll call vote, please.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Mary, yes.
Very good, thank you.
Now we have to remind, well, go ahead. Oath of office when they're done.
I'm sorry?
They'll have to take the oath of office. Somebody will have to
Yeah.
remind them. Yeah.
You will remind them, I'm sure. All right, the next one is for alternate number 2 for the ZBA. You have a letter from Rita Service. She has served in the past and has expressed an interest in getting back on the ZBA. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I will exclude myself from this vote.
I make the motion to appoint Rita Service as ZBA alternate number 2, effective July 22nd, 2026, with a term ending October 31st, 2026.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All right, you need a roll call vote on that?
Sharon,
Any discussion?
Yes.
Oh, you
Oh,
want to
discussion?
No, is there any discussion? I didn't hear you say that, so
We did.
got to keep them on track.
that's right.
Yeah, I'm running through this, right? All right, go ahead.
Sharon, yes.
Yeah.
Andy,
Yes.
Mary, yes. Jason,
Yes.
Bob,
I have to abstain.
oh, sorry. So
You're
that's a
supposed-
no for
You're supposed to
Bob?
leave the room.
All right. That takes care of that item. Next item. As I've discussed at the last couple of meetings, we're looking for ways to expedite the process of refilling our fire tanker trucks. Currently, to do it, it takes 2 trucks to do it, and we're trying to find an expedited way at the lake. This is step 1 to determine a design for a dry fire hydrant program. Kevin did an extensive phone call search to see if somebody has an existing model, and there isn't any available for us to purchase. So we're going to have to start from scratch. Once we get the drawings from Precision, then we will find a manufacturer and come up with an estimate for the build. But this is the first step for that. Thoughts from the board?
So this is step 1, this here,
Yep,
because the rest of the packet gives detail as far as their hours and what they perform
Right.
and doing.
yep, it's a contract.
So do we know when they can start and how long it'll take or anything like that?
Kevin, and I know that once we pass it, what's the timing for them?
I think a background of why we need it from what's existing currently will help too.
Are you referring to the engineering firm?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm thinking probably within 3 weeks that this could be done. The whole thing was, as it states in the packet, that the dry hydrant at the day park is non-functional. We cannot use it. This would be a one-time purchase for the township on this engineering plan. And that would allow us to be able to draw water basically out of the lake automatically, like it would be just like having a fire hydrant. And if we later on, if we get this drawing approved from the engineering firm, then future sites could be implemented. We wouldn't have to go through this procedure again. We just have to put it out for bids. But for the engineering, I thought he was talking about a 3-week period. It depends, I guess, on how busy they are right now to get this going, but I can have an answer to the township supervisor by tomorrow afternoon if you'd like.
So so they're going to disconnect the one, I know it's
The
non-functional.
pipe that's in the lake now is probably 100 foot in length. It has a strainer on it. It's not, like I said, it's not functioning. So this whole thing would cover the whole thing when they have to get the permits from DEQ.
It would be in the same place then?
Yeah, it'd be in the
Okay.
same place. The only thing difference is there would be a control panel box like out back here and another box beside that with what we call a large diameter hose. One person would pull up to that, get out, hook that hose up to the tanker, walk over, push the button, activate the pump. It would fill the tanker. He'd shut it off, disconnect the hose, put it back and go.
Chief, you'd mentioned that once you do this once, you don't have to redo it. What did you mean by that? Because you do it, you get,
That's the engineering plans.
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah.
We can hold on to them and then say that if we decided in the future we had different strategic points within the township, the only probably difference would be in the length of the pipe and
okay.
cost.
So Eagle would, because there's eagles involved with this at the Torch Lake one, right?
There is, yes, because it's going in the lake, there have to be permits from the state.
And would they
That would all
also
be
have
taken
to,
care of, yeah.
even for the other sites, like if you chose to do one?
That's a good question, but I can't answer that right now. I don't know. I couldn't tell you yes or no on that. I can find out.
Okay, I was just curious. It doesn't necessarily impact how I would look at it. I was just more curious.
Yeah. The reason I thought about this is just be real quick. In Lansing, they have this set up by the river. And it's working. It's been established since when I called up there at the fire department. They've had it in place since 1970, the late 70s, and it's still in use. It's right by the river and by the bridge. It's right downtown.
And once it's in place, how quickly can you fill up a truck?
Probably with our tankers, we'd probably fill it within 4 to 5 minutes real quick. You know,
That was one of my questions too.
yeah.
And then so our new fire truck that's not here yet is double the size or bigger. It'll fill that up.
Yeah,
Easily.
because the minimum we'd want probably a 500 gallon a minute pump, and let's just do the math. It's 3,000 gallons, 500 a minute, boom, you know, and you're out of there. So that was the other thing. And the other thing, when I discussed it with the township supervisor, another factor into that, sometimes that when we do have structure fires or in the middle of the night, and in the winter. And sometimes it's a safety issue with firefighters having to go down the retaining rocks along the shoreline. They get ice covered. And then sometimes we have to cut through the ice and to get a draft going. We establish a water point. So that would help eliminate that in the future too. So,
I was
any
wondering
problem?
I was wondering how it would work in the wintertime.
yeah, it would still work fine. That one always worked okay. It's deep enough that the ice doesn't affect it on the lake.
And so what happened to the old one?
The old one would be removed by the contractor, whoever that would be, and hauled away.
No, I said, why did it stop functioning?
We don't have any idea. We tried drafting out of that numerous times. We couldn't get a draft coming out of it. And Ted tried a backflow with the engine, try to push pressure back out. We still didn't have any luck with that. And then Matt's Underground come in with their jetter, which is a 3,000 per square inch hose that pushes pressure in. That's how they open mains and stuff, and they could not get through it down into the pipe. So I don't know if it's a structure failure inside. We did not go as far as to have them shoot a camera through it. They just tried to open it once. So, and it's been there for quite a while, my
It's been
understanding.
as long as I've been here.
So it's probably just structure failure from time.
That's been 50 years.
So this engineering company, they've engineered other ones in other places?
When I called, when I was first checking into this, I contacted Matt's Underground Kalkaska, and they said that they would not even attempt to give us any quotes on construction until we got an engineering firm to give us some sort of specs on what's going on. So once we get that, we just put it out for proposal and see what comes in.
We've used Precision before, I believe, haven't we?
What's that, Bob?
Have we used Precision Engineering?
Oh,
before and
from
stuff?
Kalkaska, Matt's Underground, yes.
Well, no, Precision.
Have we used
No, we have not.
Performance,
Yeah,
performance
We have
engineer.
not done that, no.
Form, sorry. All right, any
And
further
how,
questions?
so once the plan is done, then the dry pump itself, do we have any idea how much a pump is?
I don't have any idea on that. It depends on how the engineering firm figures how much draw they have to get the water out of the lake up to that point.
It's probably pretty pricey though, I would imagine.
Yeah, it might be. I couldn't
It's a
tell
big
you.
pump.
Yeah.
Not suggesting we don't proceed with it. I'm just curious. We'll have to obviously account for that at some point.
Until we get the engineering
Yeah.
draft and give the folks there in Kalkaska a chance to give us a price, depending, probably the pump's going to be the big driver.
Oh, yeah.
What's our timeline on that? I mean, are you like planning on doing that in the off season, like this during the
Oh, it'd
winter?
have to be done. We could
Yeah.
not do that during the summer months,
know.
you know, with the vacationers and the residents down there, the day park. Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you.
any other questions for the board?
I don't have any more questions.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the contract with Precision. Is it Precision or Performance?
I think it's
Performance.
Okay, so we have to make the motion to approve the contract with Performance Engineering for the design of a dry fire hydrant and obtaining the required Eagle permit for the Torch Lake Township Day Park water access point and removal of existing dry hydrant at a cost of $9,500.
All right, I will second that. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, Mary, will you run a roll call vote, please?
Mary, yes. Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Andy.
Yes.
All right, thank you, board. Moving to the agenda for board discussion, I assume some people are here for short-term rentals, so we will get into it. Short-term rentals for Torch Lake Township, they're not going away, and the old way of enforcement is not working. I've spent considerable time this month thinking through other approaches and working with Todd and Sarah to develop a new enforcement strategy for our short-term rental ordinance. Todd has suggested that we review the short-term rental ordinance that Long Lake Township has implemented, and he's been involved in that, which is essentially a licensing agreement. In addition, we have worked on a short-term enforcement program that we'll implement with board approval. At a high level, I'll be asking the board to create a new position under the zoning administrator. It's called the Ordinance Enforcement Short-Term Rental Focus, which will be a paid position. Todd and I are working through the specifics, but at the high level, the position would be responsible for the following, which involves 2 parallel action plans. The first one, we begin by identifying all properties advertised as rentals on the various websites. Once identified, those addresses will be matched to the tax file so a letter can be sent to those owners from our lawyer. Todd is preparing a letter that will indicate they are violating our short-term rental ordinance as they are renting for periods less than 30 days. We will include what the violation penalty is, letting them know we will be monitoring the properties for any rental activity. Township residents play a key role. As an example, I've had an individual that's been monitoring the property next to them, and he's indicated it's like a revolving door every 7 days. You, the township, will be the first ones, there will be a letter that when we put that draft together, they will be the first ones we will send it to. So for us to implement this, we're going to need the support of the community to get this under control. The second phase of this is the review of the Long Lake ordinance with Sarah and myself to determine what would be appropriate for our short-term rental ordinance and for the board to review and opine on. Then manage the licensing process that will require an annual fee payment and establish operating rules for these rentals, i.e. requiring septic inspection certificate and follow-up as needed. Knowing what the rental rates are will be important as Todd feels the court sees what these people are making, we will have a better chance of collecting our fines. Also, if they continue to disregard the payment of fines, we will go to court to put the appropriate liens on their property. The person I have in mind and have discussed with him is Casey Wiggins. He's very passionate about this subject. He has made that known before a number of our board meetings. And he and I have discussed this last week, and he's very enthusiastic in being considered for the assignment if the board approves him. I will be setting up a special board meeting for next week to review, discuss, and hopefully appoint him. The meeting will be noticed as usual on the website and constant contact. Your thoughts and discussion, board.
So are we just,
It's a free fall. It's
So we're
board
just-
discussion.
Casey's just gonna get in his car and head down the driveway and knock on the door, or?
Nope, we don't act, that's why we're going to do the letters. We're going to mail them certified letters and tell them, we're going to basically enforce it from a distance. And Todd sees no problem in accomplishing that. Makes it easy.
So the current enforcement is of the current ordinance, not the new licensing system.
Correct. So the first part is having Casey go out and find all these places. Casey has done this before in the past. He has presented it to the board last year, I believe. And I think at this point, if we do this process and we leverage the letters going to the taxpayers, then we're putting them on notice and we can monitor it from a distance. And again, as with the one citizen monitoring, we've got people that have complained about short-term rentals. So it's time for people to step up and bring it and help us enforce it.
So certified letters, or you said letters.
Yep.
They can go out certified mails and have them signed for it.
Yes.
So what you're saying though is have somebody deliver it. And so if somebody's not, the owner's not at the house, they're not going to receive it. And whoever is in the house is going to,
Well, we're going to use the address that's in your tax file so that we know it's going to go to the address that the tax
So-
bills go to.
okay, certified for the letters for that. I thought somebody was said they're going to the house or something.
I asked.
Okay,
It's gonna be the
I'm
protocol.
trying to write notes here. I'm trying to think of things that's going on here.
Yep.
Because you really can't go to the house because the owners aren't going to be the ones there all
We
the
can't go
time.
on the property.
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah, sign,
That's the advice Todd has given
So-
us. Without permission, we can't go on the property.
So what kind of fines are we talking?
It's, the fine is $500 a day,
500 a day?
500 a day. And that, I believe that's the max for a municipal infraction.
So 500, so if they,
Rent it
how do you
for a month.
calculate the number of days? It'd be the number of days between 30 days and the minimum that they
Whatever
actually
they've
do it?
advertised it for. As of, for instance, the individual that contacted me, said they're there, they come in on like a Saturday and they go out on a Saturday. So it's 7 days. And they were getting $3,500 a day. In the past, what Todd told me, the courts have not been supportive of the fines in the past. And it's because people, in those times, you know, they were using it to supplement their income, and the court kind of gave some leeway in his opinion. He feels that when we tell people or tell the court that they're making $20,000 or $30,000 a week, at least our fines ought to stick. And if they don't pay them, then he says we can go back to court and put a lien on the property. So I think it's more proactive. It sets probably the maximum we're going to be able to do if we're going to try to control it, because it's not going away.
So you're saying we would fine them $500 a day, but you're saying that these people make $3,500 a day?
Yep.
But why not just up the cost of your house and just keep renting? Pay the
There's
$500.
nothing against it. I mean,
But I mean, how's that fair to the rest of the people who follow the rules?
you know, it's not an easy, it's not an easy discussion. I mean, if people can make that much money in our $500, I mean, our job is to enforce the ordinance that's in place. And that's been the complaint, that the township hasn't been enforcing it. So
Who says we can't charge more than 500 a day?
for a municipal infraction, Todd says that's it for us as a township.
Is there any additional leverage for repeat offenses? So if you do it, I mean, if you get one speeding ticket, it's $200. If you get
Yeah.
two speeding tickets, it's pretty
But
soon it
that's-
gets to be more
that's
and
a-
more painful.
That's a state law as
Yeah,
opposed to.
right.
what the
No, I know,
townships
but I mean,
do.
it's like, just, is there no difference for,
No, it's $500 a day. So anyway, that's where we're at.
So tell me again about Casey's duties. I mean, I've talked to
Okay.
Casey on a lot of other issues and types of things, but I didn't follow you quite through what
All right.
Their-
Kate,
his
in the
plans
past,
are.
What Casey has done is he's gone out, he's looked at all these websites and he looks for Torch Lake
Right,
Township
right,
addresses.
Right, we've
And then he
talked about,
pulls that information off. Now,
Right.
once he pulls that off, then he'll provide us with that address of the property and we'll come to you. And we'll get the mailing address that the tax bill goes to, and we'll send them the violation letter to that address.
certified signed letter.
Yep. And, you know, again, it's in action. People want us to do something. We're limited in what we can do, but we can certainly,
This is what we
Push
have
it.
to do as a starter
yep,
I've said we need to send a lot of letters out. That's a starter anyway, and go from there.
yep.
They have to know. I mean, I get phone calls from realtors and people in different avenues of all over wondering what they can and can't do in the township. So, and then when they're informed, you know, a lot of them aren't informed. So those that don't ask questions aren't informed either. So, but a letter will give them informed, at least
Right.
get it started.
Well, and again, if they don't pay, then
Will Todd
have to
help
go-
write the letter then? Is that,
Todd's going to write it for us. yes.
okay,
Then it just seems like anybody can short-term rent and just pay the fees. I mean, unless your house isn't worth all that much a day.
I was going to say the sad part is it only punishes those that probably need the money the most.
Wow.
And I don't think,
Meaning like, I mean, if you
you're
have a
right.
lower
That's right.
income, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't solve the problem for the guy with the revolving door next door for every 7 days.
No, it doesn't.
It just brings money in for the township, I guess, but it doesn't.
Basically, if they'll pay it, if not, then you incur the legal fees to get them paid at the court. And if they don't pay them after that, then you go back to court and put a lien on the property.
I mean, some of these places that own these houses are huge corporations that have houses everywhere.
Mary, I can't help that.
Yeah.
It's just.
They're
It's a
LLCs.
problem. The township, how many meetings have we heard from the township residents that we're not doing enough? This pushes the envelope, and it takes the risk that I had seen originally with sending Bob out there to the property. Now we're communicating by mail. We're not putting Bob at risk. Let's try to enforce it and do the best we can.
I
Or
agree
do
with,
nothing.
yeah, and I agree that we should do this, take this type of approach. We should try to enforce the ordinance we have as opposed to just disregarding the ordinance. We can always come back and rethink the ordinance and the value of it. Like, can we get revenue from this and somehow at least helps us pay for the amount that it costs to do the work to monitor it?
Well, that,
And one other quick
Yeah.
question, is there a difference in the liability or a difference in the enforcement if it's a corporation versus an individual?
that'd be a question I'd have to ask Todd. I would assume not. Now, if it's a corporation, then the question becomes, is it a business? And do we get to take a different approach if it's a business?
If it's a group of rental properties, it absolutely should be a business. And it might be there might be other angles that could be approached, at least for some of those systemic violators that own multiple properties.
I've asked Todd if we can charge more, and he has told me no. That for us, for our government as a township, that's it. I sat through the Whitewater board meeting, and their attorney said, you got $500. And the question then, as we go forward and we do the licensing, then we can charge a fee that's representative of our cost for enforcing the ordinance. So once we get to that step, then we get a whole another bite at the apple as to what we charge for the fee. But we have to take the first step, I think, to at least start putting people on notice. Yeah, Sharon.
I know Casey's been keeping an eye on its stats. I don't know if we have stats as to, is it 12 months of the year? If it's the summer months, winter months, what is the status of how much? And what is because there's hardly anybody around here in the winter time. So are we talking summertime only, or are we talking?
Well, I would, that's something we can work out over time. We still, this is a broad outline.
Right,
The
I
idea
understand
is
that. I'm
if
just
we
curious if
do
we had
that-
any stats as to,
I don't have any stats, but I know that the last time that we talked last year, there were 15 to 20 houses. I'm not sure what it looks like now, but it seems to be greater. I mean, the people that, this individual that wrote to me, the people there basically remodeled the house so that they could rent it. Did a beautiful job. But for us, we don't know if they put in 5 bedrooms, what's the septic system do? And with the licensing, we're going to be able to put that type of requirement in there. But right now, we don't have anything on the books that gives us the power to do that.
well, if the builder's putting extra bathrooms in, so they would have to get permits for that to the county. And they would have to get, so,
You would expect so.
yeah.
You would expect that, yes.
Hitting them on the back end, sure, up on their property tax.
I wonder if they're all PRE.
Charge them as a commercial.
If there's a commercial angle, I'll talk to Todd and see what that. We haven't looked at that. Well, that's another angle. The idea here is I would like to get Casey started. And if everybody's in agreement with that step, then if I have a special meeting next week, is there any day that works? And we can do it at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the evening. Are you going to be around, Andy, at all?
Not the first half of the week. Second half, in theory, yes. Trying to make sure my wife's not throwing something at me. Oh, there's hate waves.
For Jason and Mary, any issues like a 4 or 5 o'clock meeting?
If you're gonna do it that way, no.
Okay. Sharon, any day not work for you?
Next week, you said?
Yes. I want to get this started.
No, I have 5 o'clock. Is the only thing I have is Monday's not good because we have a VSU picnic.
All right.
At
How's
5.
Wednesday work?
No, it would have to be Thursday or Friday.
Thursday? All right, we'll set up a meeting for Thursday. What's the date? on that?
30th.
What, 30th? 5 o'clock in the boardroom. Very good, board. Thank you. We're used to that.
You
All
said
right.
5 o'clock, right?
Moving on to the next item, Public Act 58, Land Division, and our star witnesses.
All right, Sarah and I are going to attempt to do this together. So in front of you is kind of a basic, we were trying to give you enough, not overwhelm you, but it's a lot. So I'm going to go back so you get a little basic understanding.
Do we want to introduce you?
Yes. The Land Division Act was passed originally back in March 31st of 1997. Okay. They did that to allow townships to have some regulation on these land divisions, because before a lot of that was done through the county. This way it said townships, if you pass an ordinance, you have the right to review it, but it was very specific for all townships in the state of Michigan, as property taxes are regulated by the state of Michigan, that the Land Division Act was regulated by the state of Michigan, set up those rules. Basically, for anybody that had a parent parcel or parent tract, which I gave you the definitions of that, which is any parcel legally in existence as of March 31st of 1997 under common ownership is considered a parent parcel and parent tract. Based on the size of that parcel is how many divisions you get. So basically, for a 10-acre parcel under the act, you would get 4 splits if you could comply with local zoning. Okay? Again, you always have to comply with local zoning, no matter what. So the law just passed again. It passed and it updated some rules. It's Public Act 58 of 2025, which said now for every parent parcel or parent tract that is legally in existence as of March 31st of 1997, for that same 10 acres, you could potentially get 10 parcels or 10 splits. You must allow that, okay? Must. Don't have a choice. State is telling you, you have to update your ordinances to allow that. Again, has to comply with local zoning. So depending on your zoning district, if it's if you're in the ag district, it's a 2-acre minimum lot size. You know, you're not going to get 5 splits because you have road right of way, et cetera, or 10 splits. You're going to get 5 if you're lucky, realistically 4, right? Because of zoning. If you're in your R1 district, which is about a half an acre, you could get your 10 splits, okay? You still have to meet all the dimensional, you have to have a health department. There's other rules that haven't changed, okay? And they're not changing. You now, however, this is what they've done. You now have some options. Number 1, you have to allow the 10, which is on the chart that I gave you, okay? You have to do it. You also can do an option 2, which says instead of going with that original parent parcel or parent tract date of March 31st of 1997, any parcel legally in existence as of any date you choose by March 24th of 2027, however, just has to be before that, you can create it to where any parcel legally in existence would be entitled to 10 divisions plus 1 parcel for every additional 10 acres, okay? That's in the law, but you don't have to allow that, okay? This law passed under the affordable housing. This is what it's pushing under. They are trying to get more property on the market. When the Land Division Act passed originally back in 97, it was pushed by the Home Builders Association and realtors because there wasn't enough property on the market. You know, property was selling. We got to get more out there. So the Land Division Act passed because under the old Subdivision Control Act, which is what it was before, once you did your 4 splits for every parcel you could create over 10 acres, you could split as much as you want, okay? So there's reasons why behind it. The reason we're trying to introduce it is you have to think about it. It is a direction of your township based on your master plan, based on your zoning. If your zoning is in good shape, it doesn't matter what you do. I'll be honest, because if your zoning is set up to say we want our development in this area, well then that's, you know, people build what your zoning says they can. So that's a call the board has to make a decision on which direction. You must do option 1. You don't have a choice on that one, okay? The part about a parent parcel, parent tract, the reason that is an important definition and why I gave you a little bit more on that is it is a picture in time, okay? Literally, you cannot create or destroy a parent parcel or parent tract. It is what existed on the roll March 31st of 1997, who owned it. And if it was same ownership, that's what it is. Can't change it, okay? If that parcel has been split since March 31st of 1997, they're not entitled to these additional 10 splits based on current interpretation. This is all coming through because it hasn't, you know, this is still under the act. I can tell you all townships, I've been to a couple different townships on this, okay? Some are zoned, some aren't zoned. One township is unzoned. They're not even regulating it at all. They're doing option 3, which means you can get as many splits as you want. They're not zoned, so as long as you comply with the law, you can split all day long, okay? Milton Township is looking to go with option 2, okay? They just decided that at their meeting. But, you know, this is a discussion and a decision your board has to make and think about, I don't know, what you're thinking. Your township does not get a ton of land divisions. Like in general, we don't get a lot of land divisions, which is interesting to me. I mean, I think we've had.
We are on our first land division. We've done a property transfer, but first land division.
So, I mean, Milton, I've got 9 already done this year. So it's not that it's not coming is my point, right?
Right.
It could come, right? Kind of filters down. So you haven't had a lot of pressure yet. Doesn't mean you're not going to get the pressure for that development. So, you know, as time goes on, I have some other stuff for you to look at. Sometimes I think it's a little overwhelming if I give it to you too early. One thing that I tried to do here, and I'm going to explain it really quick, and then you're going to have to absorb it, and then we'll come back around and talk about it probably later. So what I did is I took all of your parcels that are meets and bounds parcels in Torch Lake Township. I exported them out of the assessing database. I then took your zoning and said, okay, how many parcels could we possibly get under all these different rules based on the zoning? This does not apply to any of the platted subdivision site condos or anything like this. This is strictly land division properties, okay? It does not tell you which ones are parent parcels. I cannot give you that number. That is something that takes a massive amount of research and time. I can tell you what the law tells now. If you had a parent parcel, you would get those number of divisions that you see on that chart, okay? So when you look at the first column, you know, I have the ag district where under the current law, you could potentially get 1,204 splits, right? Under the new,
That's across the whole township.
only in the ag district.
Right.
Yes, correct. That's assuming, that doesn't mean they can meet zoning and everything else. That's just straight land division numbers. With the new law changing, okay, take that same ag district, you could potentially get 2,542 parcels, okay? And that's assuming, this would never happen, but I'm just giving you this example. The maximum number allowed based on your zoning code is 2,402, right? That's just everybody did it. But if you do the math where which one's the overrider, meaning zoning may kick you out before land divisions, the max you're really going to get is 1,471, okay? So that's the max you're going to potentially get under the new code with that, with zoning kicking in place. And again, that's the max because you got to remember, you've got wetlands, you've got dunes, you've got width to depth issues. I think your minimum width is 200 feet. Not all these properties have 200 feet on front. I mean, like you're never going to get that. Okay. But it gives you some idea of what you're looking at. Okay. The other stuff I have in there is it just gives you some graphics of 10 acres. This is current law. The next page that I gave you on there, it shows then kind of a diagram of that same 10 acres with the new law, with the assumption it's a parent parcel. And then the last page is if you had those children parcels now being able to have those additional 10. So it just gives you some visuals to kind of grasp on this. But I'm going to say here in Torch Lake, you're probably not, you don't have the pressure that some other townships have in the sense of what you do. So it gives you a little time to think about it, come up with probably some advice from, Sarah. I think Sarah's been looking at this and I'm not sure if she wants to add anything on that.
So for this, a lot of our township is zoned agricultural, right? On our zoning map, the whole center of the township is zoned ag. So that's that 2 acre minimum in here. So you probably will have some limited impact or difference from what you currently have in your districts or for your splits of those properties. But there is potential. One of the items I talked about with Bob was related to private roads and being that you can have 10 lots on potentially 10 acres. In some cases, that will mean you'll have additional private roads. Torch Lake Township does not currently have a private road ordinance. So if somebody's developing and puts in a private road, we don't have a minimum width for the easement, a minimum width for the drive surface, a turnaround area for emergency vehicles or delivery trucks or anything like that in our current ordinance. I think maybe 4 years ago, I talked a little bit about a private road ordinance. There was an interest in doing any private road regulations, but I'm kind of thinking that now with the change in the Land Division Act, we may want to revisit that, just put some bare minimum standards in at least so that we're getting private roads that are not 12 feet wide. We can at least get it where 2 vehicles can go by on a surface for that. But that's an additional item that may come out of this Land Division Act and the changes for it. The township does have a Land Division ordinance. We adopted it in 21. And basically it just ties the Land Division Act and the zoning ordinance together. It allows us to apply our zoning ordinance to the land divisions. It provides the process. Amy, myself, Sharon sign off on the land division before it's actually processed through that process. And so we can look at that. I don't think there'd be major changes just needed for what you're required to do in that, but we'll take a look at that and see if there are changes for that. But if you want to start going with your different options, we will need to look at additional changes, and there may be some zoning ordinance implications that we need to take a look at as well for that, which will take a little bit longer, right? The land division ordinance is a standalone ordinance. Township board can do that one meeting, get it adopted at a minimum. The zoning ordinance that has to go through the planning commission and then come up through the township board. So while we don't need to move fast, there is also some time that may happen with zoning wise.
Still needs to be timely.
So
Time goes fast.
let's focus on the private road thing because that's critical for Mike and Kevin. So the question there is for the fire department, then we need to get their input as to what the minimum amount of space they're going to need. And then we need to get that private road in place.
Do you think, is there interest in us taking a look at putting something together, private road?
Yes.
I thought I mean, because there's been stuff that's gone in front of the ZBA on private roads when there were setback requirements for a private road, but if there's no ordinance for a private road, why did those setbacks come into play?
That has to do with, the front setback is a line from a right of way, and so that private road ends up being in a right of way.
Okay.
The easement itself, the setback on it, or
Okay.
not dealing with the road within it.
And that would be only the new current ones that would be established, not anything that
Correct.
is now in place is grandfathered in.
Right, right, unless you wanted to do something, but most communities would just say any new roads have these minimum standards. That would catch these larger land divisions that are happening. And the reason land divisions, the reason that they're good is they're less expensive. All you need to do is have a survey. So that allows individuals that have large tracts of lands, farmers, to be able to split their property fairly inexpensive. Everything costs money, but to go through that process to split it versus right now, if you have 10 acres and you want to create more than 4 parcels, you need to go and hire an engineer. You need to have it designed. You have to have roads. It really blows up the expense. You come to the planning commission and time, effort, all of that goes into it. So the state, the reason to adjust to the 10 land divisions is to try to allow people to divide their property at a less expensive way, get more property.
And the
Yeah.
title work should come from the people doing the splits instead of the
Yeah, same way.
township.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing that we always deal with for land divisions, yeah.
Maybe a little more intensive if it goes back to
Right.
parcel date.
Right.
But, yeah, and what Sarah was saying is true. So the land division, I always say it's the quick and easy way to split property, okay? But now you're creating individuals that are not developers will become developers with this number of divisions. So that's where before the land division kind of kept you at 4, and if it got much more than that, they're going to the planning commission. It's getting thought out. The roads are going through your process and thinking that through. Now you're getting individuals that have never potentially developed property, and they're going to do exactly what your zoning says because it's easy, and the land division says I can, and it's faster. That's why sometimes that private road will be helpful because of the headaches you'll potentially get later when people aren't willing to share the road expenses, when the road's got holes and it's not public. And, those are things that come out from at least getting a maintenance agreement out there. The developer's going to do it. You do the maintenance agreement right up front so everybody knows we're all sharing for this. We're not going to fight about it later. Those are the little things that help.
All right, so we'll take our lead from Sarah. We'll have a couple meetings on this and lay out a plan. And how soon can you have a plan for us?
For the private road,
Yeah,
Isn't that a planning thing?
well, private road ordinance, you can put them in your zoning ordinance. I always keep them outside of it just in case takes away the non-conforming aspect of it. If you ever needed to come back on it or make any changes to do them standalone, we can put it in the zoning ordinance. What I'll do is I'll draft kind of a general policy of what the regulations would be, get some feedback from the township board, and then we can decide if we want to do zoning or standalone ordinance and then develop that ordinance based on the input.
we'll think about setting up, once you get to that point, maybe we'll have a public hearing on it.
Okay.
So that township people have a chance to opine on it and get that opinion. So let's think about that.
I have a question. Can we back up a couple steps? You said that no matter what, everybody has to do the option. But because of zoning, Milton got to do option 2. And
Nope.
you say everybody's got to do that one option, but
Everyone
Milton.
has to, on March 24th of 2027, whether you change your ordinance or not, you shall allow 10 splits instead of the 4 for that first 10 acres.
Up until that date?
That's the date it's in effect. They're giving townships time to get caught up and get your zoning and get the land divisions caught up. So March 24th of 2027, they will be allowed if it's a parent parcel or parent tract. I'm being very specific with that word, okay? Option 2 is where they're debating, they can still change it, okay? This is the direction they gave us was, we're looking at doing option 2. We would like to make a new date. So now what they're doing is any property that's legally in existence as of a specific date, based on the size of that parcel, not ownership. That was like one of the worst pieces of legislature, okay? To go by ownership and not parcel number. So any parcel legally in existence as of January 1st of 2027, okay, I'm just throwing a number. You have a 20-acre parcel, you can get 11 splits, whether it's been split or not before. March 24th of 2027, if that 20-acre parcel had been split, you get 2 splits. That's what they get now, if it's been split and the divisions had been exhausted. That's all they're getting. So option 3 is, let them split and let zoning over. Nobody's going to do that. That's zoned. If
And
you're unzoned, you might do that, but anybody zoned.
And for the 20-acre parcel under that scenario, you get the 11 splits. 10 of them could be 10 of them could be, as long as you meet requirements, you could split it any way you want, right?
And you still have bonuses. I'm trying to not get you too far. There's
Yeah.
so much to this, okay? You can get bonuses, you get 2 bonuses. Once you hit 20 acres, there's a lot to that I'm trying not to get into, okay? I'm trying to give you the main thing that's really about kind of the development trends and what you're looking at into the future, what you have to do and what you could potentially do, that kind of.
So why don't you talk about the private roads, come back to that. One of the items that you don't have to decide tonight, but that you need to think about are your different options. If you want to leave the clock from 97, your parcel information, your splits, your calculations of splits, all based on the law as of 1997. Or if you want to reset that date to sometime January 1st of 20, or
Whatever.
next year, and say, okay, any parcel that exists, whenever that date is, starts fresh, and they get whatever splits are available to them. That's the difference between, and that'll take a little bit more work depending on what option you choose for that. And there's pros and cons to both sides.
100%.
In dealing with it. I mean, the Land Division Act as it currently exists is one of those things. Some parcels are very easy for the assessor to deal with and calculate out, and other parcels are very complicated. And that's where the owner part comes into, if you own 4 parcels and they all are next to each other, it all counts as one calculation versus saying parcel-based instead of owner-based. Plus you have maps and information that available today that you may not have in 97. So there's pros and cons to that. But the biggest thing is the density and what you would like to see in your community, that policy.
And it comes down to, it is not my job, nor is it Sarah's job to tell any property owner the number of divisions they have. It's not my job. That is a legal question. That is not my job. And we get really hit hard by real estate agents on that one all the time. It's on the property owner. It is their job. It is their understanding. That is their legal when they go through and sell property. We give, I think here in Torch Lake and probably Milton, we give you a little information, but I always put it out there. This is not legal advice. If you make application, once you give us all your paperwork, and if it comes back not to this, then whatever, because your deeds tell you that the grantor grants the grantee a certain number of divisions. Okay, that was supposed to be on your deed from March 31st of 1997, and every single person should have that on there. And the law said it should be a number. It shall be a number. Do you know how many people did that? Do you know how many people put all? Do you know how many people put none? Are those numbers? No, they're not numbers. So then in December of 2017, the law changed. And they said, oh, okay, we're going to add all. That's legit. But if your deed was done before that date and it said all, doesn't count. That means you got none. But if you did it after that date, you got them. This is the stuff that comes into where sometimes it's nice, just give them a new line in the sand. It's not fair to the property owners either, okay, when this is coming down, because if I buy a piece of property from you, Bob, and you put all down on there, and I really thought I got those divisions, and you didn't know any differently, I'm going to go with it was an innocence thing, because I think a lot of it was. We have had a lot of issues with people, mad at us. So that's why having a new line can be beneficial, not only to the process, but to property owners, because there are some things with the law that change, that have had an impact that, I'll be honest, a lot of them probably don't even know yet until they go to split the property. But that's the weeds, right?
All right.
If any available, that's another big one.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next item, information only. The water runoff, based on the letter that you all heard, that Mary read. With two 100-year rains in such a short period of time, the two homes on the west side of Northeast Torch Lake Drive, opposite our cemetery, were inundated with significant water. I was up there with the last storm, and it was like a rapids coming out of the cemetery. It caused significant erosion down in the gully that separates the two pieces of property. After reading the letter and after talking to our attorney, I met with the folks and showed them that the cemetery was not the originator of the flow of water. It was a conduit from another piece of property. It came from somewhere on the east side of the cemetery. I've engaged a firm that Antrim County Road Commission also is using, probably on this matter as well, to do a study of the property, not only of the cemetery for certain sections that we have that might have a high water table to find out where they might be, but also to try to get permission from the landowner for us to go back and investigate further how far back does the origination of that amount of water come from. So I'll be meeting with the company next week, and I will keep the board informed. We're going to have to repair the main road there in the cemetery. The last one cost us $4,000. The next one's going to cost us a lot more. So these folks hopefully will help us figure out how we can prevent that erosion. But based on what we saw, if we get another rain like we had with 5 or 6 inches, there's nothing we're going to be able to do. We have a steep enough driveway there. It just builds speed coming out of there. So I'll keep the board informed as we go along. So Mary, second section.
Did you contact the owners in the back? Did you get a hold of Katie back there?
No, I need an address because we're going to have to,
Okay,
because we didn't have a phone number for her. I called that number and it didn't go.
okay,
anywhere.
I'll get you another one then.
But I would like to send a certified letter to her requesting the information so we cross all of our Ts before we start
I'll do that.
investigating their property.
I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay. So let's see, citizen comment section, still none.
Well, I have Jairus,
Oh,
and I
Jairus.
suspect a few more.
all right.
Yeah. Did I see one? Yes.
Hi, Deb Graber, 1227 Beach Knot Lane. STRs, I'm not a proponent, I'm not a fan of them. I know I've worked in this township before and shut down a lot of them, and it was through letters and working with neighbors who were just sick of the revolving doors next to them. And they are deemed a commercial entity with the state of Michigan. Two, regarding the land divisions, make sure your master plan is also consistent with your planning and zoning ordinances. So if you make changes in your zoning ordinances to support this new land division, make sure the master plan supports that as well. And also note, if you reset that line in the sand to January of 27, for example, or whatever date, if somebody did land splits a month prior, when the new law goes into effect, they just got 10 new land splits. So keep that in the back of your minds too. I know that Peninsula Township, from a discussion I've had with the supervisor over there, she put in an escalated fines. I think hers were $1,000, $2,000 that she was hitting them for, but she was using it more as a deterrent. So it might be something else. It's not something I'd like to see in this township. I think it just needs to be enforced. And I think if you put it out to the public that we are not allowing short-term rentals in Torch Lake Township, you'll find a lot of people in the community would back that up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Herb Roth.
I guess I kind of want to reiterate the same thing. I think the idea of making it a different proposal way of licensing for short-term rentals is not a good idea. I think the letters, the registered letters sending out to people that violate this is a good idea. I think if you do some kind of licensing, you're going to have people that follow the rules, and you're still going to have the people that make $2,500 a night pay the $500 fee. So I don't see the benefit of changing the legality or the fact that we don't allow short-term rentals as a whole.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Christy Lathers.
Christy Lathers, 1938 Moulton Road. I was wondering if there's been any consideration or anybody has checked into short-term rentals with regard to limiting them only to people that have their permanent residence up here. I know I've done a lot of looking, and a lot of municipalities allow only that, which also usually says that possibly the owners are around, which is a big problem. I've had renters who've been here 30, 35 years and still have renters on the north side and had renters on the south side for many, many years. The left side was up to 30 people. They say they're grandfathered in, but when we bought our property in 1990, they told us they never rented. And there were up to 30 people at a time that would come to this place, and their bathroom was about the size of this dais here. So I don't know, have you checked into that at all about renting? That would really mitigate a lot of the issues, just renting to those that have their permanent residence.
I'll talk to Todd
Yeah,
and see if, again, we've got to write it that's going to stand up in court.
yeah. I
And
mean,
with-
that would really mitigate a lot of the rental
What I'm trying
issues.
to avoid is the press release that Milton Township got.
Ex-
They were
well,
getting sued,
Yeah, exactly.
so.
But I mean, I know a lot of people who rent that they rent under the radar, and they have good renters, but yet all in all, they still rent, and it does affect people on both sides of them.
Yep.
The amount of people they rent to.
Okay,
So,
I will bring it up with Todd.
okay.
Thank you.
Paul Bricker.
Thanks for tackling this. I live on San Marino Trail. I'm also the VP over there of the HOA. We're totally opposed to this. I came from Clearwater Township. This is it's the Wild West over there when it comes to short-term rentals. There's between $3.5 and $5 million flowing through that township every summer, and that township isn't getting a penny of it. They got septic tanks overflowing in that township because it's unregulated short-term rentals. This community here, we're in R1. Short-term rentals is commercial activity. Shouldn't be going on in R1. Okay. Additionally, there's quite a few properties in Michigan that transfer within families that avoid transfer tax. The homestead law says you can't engage in commercial activity in property that's avoided transfer tax. Okay. But yet people are doing that. So that means not only are they avoiding property tax at the current market rate because the property transferred, right, under the homestead law, they're not paying their appropriate fair share of property taxes. They're engaging in short-term rentals and making money hand over fist, and they're not paying for the roads or anything else that these people come in with as far as fair wear and tear on. But the most important issue is the environmental impact it's going to have. Okay, so this is a huge issue in Clearwater Township. They're trying to get their hands around it, but it is truly the Wild West. I applaud the board in doing what you're doing, but I would also ask you or the lawyers, look at the rules about the homestead law, passing transfer. It artificially does not allow the property to come up to the fair market value. So people aren't paying the appropriate property tax that they would if they just went in and bought that property outright, okay? That harms the entire community when that's going on, okay? Not the least of which is the environment and the other people that are coming in here and paying full market rate and getting and paying full freight, okay? So short-term rentals, commercial activity shouldn't be going on in R1. Thanks for taking this on, Bob.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jairus Rubing.
Yeah, Jairus Rubin, County Commissioner. The last County Commissioner meeting, our sheriff gave his 2025 annual report. And Antrim County, we have approximately 24,600 people in Antrim County. And last year, there were 24,600 911 calls. So that's just kind of interesting to think about. Granted, 911 calls are all kinds of things. That year, I think we had quite a few due to the ice storm. Recently, the 911 center has had a lot of calls about our neighbor's house is on fire because we can see smoke. Well, no, it's not. It's just smoky because we have wildfire smoke. So anyways, they deal with a lot there, but I just thought it was kind of interesting that a lot of calls in a year. I mean, almost one per person. And on that, Torch Lake in 2025 had 842 calls. My other two townships that I go to, Central Lake Township, 888, and Banks Township, 758. And he also has it broken down by village, so you can see how many calls are issued for Village Central Lake, Village Ellsworth, Village of Elk Rapids, all that. The sheriff put a new report together this year, and it's very well laid out, and it's very user-friendly. If you go to the county website, the last meeting under the packet and click the sheriff's report, it's all there. It's 30 pages long. Hemlock woolly adelgids, I've talked about it before. You've got problems with it here in Torch Lake. We got a lot of problems with it at the Antrim Creek Natural Area. And they have treated over 1,000 trees there this year now, hemlock trees at the Antrim Creek Natural Area. At the last meeting, the Antrim Creek Board made a motion to allow them to cut some of the very small hemlock trees because they need to be treated for more than 1 year. And if we don't have enough chemical to treat them next year, then what's the use of treating them this year? There's a lot of places where there's a lot of little tiny hemlocks that probably aren't going to survive anyway. Something that we're still working on. Also in the sheriff's report is his marine patrol, and Torch Lake and Torch River have the most hours of marine patrol. Of total marine patrol hours in Antrim County was just over 2,000 hours, and between the Torch Lake and the Torch River were over 1,000 hours. Citations, warnings, all that. The top one is obviously Torch Lake, and the second one is Intermediate Lake. So, yeah, a lot of cool information there. If there's nothing else, any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Sir.
Say hi to your daughter.
All right. So board comment, Andy,
Nothing.
Jason.
Yeah, a couple things. Didn't we have a fire on Torch Lake this past week?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would it be beneficial if we had like a tugboat that could fire water from the lake? I'm being serious, so. No? Okay, all right.
A lot would depend how, with the draft, if it's real shallow, you're not going to get anything.
Hey, it's just a thought, I'm trying to help. We got a lot of beautiful houses on the lake. I didn't know if that was an option or not. Okay. And the second thing is I take time to come here to these meetings and do the best that I can and listen to what everybody's got to say. And I just find it completely rude when there's people up here talking and there's people back there talking. And I'm trying to hear and I just keep hearing people. I don't know. It's rude and I can't stand it, to be honest with you. So that's all I got to say.
We'll call them out next time. Mary.
We had our public accuracy test yesterday at 3 PM for our tabulators. Thank you, Casey Wiggins, for being the public that showed up for that. Thank you. Thanks to Sharon and Bob for checking the accuracy of the ballots. Everything went great, and we're going to start early voting on the 25th through August 2nd. So that's my update on that.
Great, thank you. Sharon?
I have my notes saying kudos to both the fire and the ambulance department. This has been a busy couple of weeks for both departments. And I want to say kudos to both of those departments and their active people that are involved. July has been kind of busy, and it's been, thank you, yes. There was the winter that was a standstill and not much going on, but July hit, and so did their boots and their gear go. So I want to say thank you.
All right, Mary? Yeah, I think,
That is true. I did have a witness cardiac arrest in the cafe, and Kevin was our other ambulance was up at Erickson, not Erickson, but at Christie's, doing an auto accident. So Kevin took the rescue vehicle with an EMT Fred that we hired a year ago, and they went to the cafe, and that was, and they laid him on the floor and revived him, so it was a successful CPR thing. Thanks to those two guys.
Yeah.
Kevin, you're
Thanks, Kevin.
everywhere. You're amazing.
Yeah.
all right.
And one other thing I want to add about is that Kevin has recognized we've had two fires where we've had the ambulance got there first. And when they got there first, the first fire was a minor one inside the house, but Kevin asked for some assistance from them and they helped them out. So it's been an excellent team effort.
Good,
Unbelievable.
good. Well, that's why we got you two guys. All right.
I'll make a motion.
I'm going to play the role of Sharon. Oh, wait a minute, I got something to say. I have nothing to say today. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved second. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8:22, and the Tigers are losing 3-0.
Yeah.